Mr. Ambassador, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Where do things stand with the unilateral ceasefire announced by the South Sudanese president and accepted by Riek Machar? Has the fighting stopped?
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show. Let me assure you that the ceasefire is holding, and the government led by President Salva Kiir is committed to the ceasefire and to the overall agreement.
All right, you say the president is committed to the ceasefire and the overall agreement, but that still leaves in question his vice president, Riek Machar, and of course the bigger issue of troops. Does President Kiir and his rival, for want of a better word, do they have full control over the troops to ensure that the fighting stops permanently?
Yeah, what happened was unfortunate, but let me assure you that from my perspective, the president is having control on his troop, and Juba now is under his control, and the situation is under control. It is unfortunate that this thing happened, but it is the thing of the past. We have to put it behind and need to re-engage the two leaders, the two sides to the agreement, so that the agreement moves forward with the help of international community and our other partners.
Mr. Ambassador, you talk about putting it behind you, the violence of the last couple of days, but many in the international community feel that that is part of the problem with South Sudan, that no one is held responsible for the attacks on civilians, that forces operate with impunity. Will that change? Will anyone be held responsible for the some 200+ people who lost their lives in the last couple of days?
Yeah, when I said that it should be a thing of the past, I didn't mean that accountability should not be carried out. The president, immediately after the clashes around the palace, which were orchestrated by the troops of the vice president, he formed a committee headed by one of the leaders of the rebellion, and the committee is tasked to come up with a report within 10 days. And in this report, there must be finger pointing to whoever that started the escalation. So we are not running away from accountability. That is why the president formed the committee.
All right, and final question to you, Mr. Ambassador. What comes next? There is a ceasefire that is holding, but what comes next in the immediate days to come?
Yeah, what comes next is that, first of all, let me say that the agreement has not collapsed. The former rebel is still the first vice president. His ministers are still holding their posts, and they are still in Juba. We appreciate the gesture that he did to emulate what the president said, that the ceasefire should be cemented. That is a good thing. Then the second thing, that we need to re-engage the two leaders to come together and try to implement the peace agreement, because the government alone cannot implement the peace agreement, because it is a two-party or three-party or four-party agreement. So we need re-engagement, and then also try to help to build the working relationship between the government and the rebels. So this is what we need to do. We need to go back, re-engage the two leaders, re-engage the two parties, so that they continue to implement the peace agreement. The international community should not step aside and say that let us watch how they are going to implement peace agreement. Intensive engagement is still needed. Intensive support is still needed. And we should not jump conclusion that the peace agreement has failed. No, it has not failed.